We're now seeing a live shot of the Premier as he expects to address reporters, Beatrice.
Budget cuts, usually you guys have a stand and everything.
What do you make of the meeting between the President and the Prime Minister? How do you think the Prime Minister did?
I thought he did really well. It was very productive. He held his own. I'll tell you, it's very obvious that President Trump likes Prime Minister Carney a lot more than he liked Prime Minister Trudeau. So that's the first start. But it's all about building a relationship, and I think this is the first step to something productive.
Towards the end, it looked like it could have gone off the rails as President Trump went on a rant about we don't want your autos, we don't want anything you have.
Yeah, but
how do you respond in a situation like that where he's going off on these rants belittling Canada?
Well, something. Number one, I'd ignore it, and I'd respond just to the public, not necessarily him, that we're his largest customer. He keeps talking about a trade deficit, but you take the oil away and they have a $50 billion surplus. I'd say if he doesn't want anything, I guess he doesn't want the potash that keeps his farmers going, or the uranium to keep his nuclear energy facilities going, or our high-grade nickel that keeps the military and aerospace and manufacturing going. The list keeps going on. So I think it's a little bit of rhetoric that he's saying, but I think we're in a much better position now than we were before this meeting.
How so, though? I mean, you hear the president still saying he's not going to relent on these tariffs. How do you say we're not in a better position now?
Well, he says a lot of things, and sometimes he'll change his mind. So let's hope that he changes his mind and really respects our relationship and how we employ. Ontario alone employs 9 million Americans that build a part or a widget, anything for Ontario here. So again, we're their number one customer. They're our number one customer, and we're going to continue building the relationship.
Are you sure that the president has a good understanding of what Canada is facing? He didn't seem to even know what tariffs are still in place for a country.
Yeah, no, I think he might be a little confused, but that's him. It's up to the Secretary Lutnick and the other teams, the trade teams, to put that together. To be fair, he has a lot on his plate.
Have you and your officials or other ministers kept in touch with Secretary Lutnick?
Yes, we have a person right there in Washington that's continuing talking to their trade team and communicating, and I haven't talked to Secretary Lutnick in a little while. And I think the Prime Minister now, it's a federal issue. He has all the support of the premiers, and we need to move forward and make sure we stand united as a country.
What are you hoping
You put the
to hear?
401 tunnel on the list of the priority projects, the nation-building projects.
Yes.
What if the Prime Minister says no?
Well, if he says no, we continue doing it because we need it. It's costing our economy tens of billions of dollars every single year. Making sure that people and goods can be transferred over from one part of the city to the other. Toronto controls 50% of our GDP. We can't have people held up on highways. The 400 series highways will be at capacity in the next 10 years. So we have to think 50 years down the road. We can't think of just today, and it'll be a large project and a very long process.
So
but I think we need it.
It's on your list, but if it comes at the expense of the Ring of Fire, as an example, you would prioritize the Ring of Fire.
Well, Ring of Fire is our number one priority over anything because that's going to generate more revenues. And if we get shovels in the ground, get permits in less than 2 years, and then we can sell those critical minerals to everyone in the world that needs those critical minerals. We can be the wealthiest, richest, most prosperous sub-sovereign nation anywhere in the world if we get those critical minerals out of the ground.
Last question. Took a pretty complimentary tone with the president kind of fluffing his feathers. Is that a good approach when it comes to dealing with President Donald Trump? Is that the way that you think he responds?
Well, you sure can't go the other way. It's not going to work out too well for you. But just being respectful to each other. And I thought they both were respectful to each other. And I thought it was a warm greeting. And I'm very confident that the Prime Minister it's a good start to a long relationship. And we'll have a great relationship once again with the United States and the American people.
When will you be speaking separation?
No, I'm not for that whatsoever. We need to stay united. We're so much stronger when we're all sticking together. So hopefully that's never going to happen.
That's it. Thank you.
will you be asking tomorrow when you speak with the First Ministers and the Prime Minister? What are going to be your questions to the Prime Minister?
Well, the big national infrastructure projects. He's asked all the premiers to give him a list. We sent our list forward, and I believe in building pipelines as well. You know, you mentioned about Alberta, Colin. I'm a big proponent of building pipelines west, north, and east. That's critical, and along with other infrastructure projects, we need to continue building here. We need to diversify our trade to other countries around the world. We can't be beholden to the U.S., which we have been for decades now. So this will give us an opportunity to really prosper. But thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Premier.
Thank you.
All right, hearing from an optimistic Premier Doug Ford offering his thoughts on Mark Carney's meeting with Donald Trump. He says, I thought it went very well. They were both respectful. It was productive. And he also said he thinks Trump likes Mark Carney a lot more than he liked Justin Trudeau. He also said he thinks this is the first step to something really productive. Now, Donald Trump did say, we don't need Canada's cars. We don't need Canada's steel. We don't need anything from Canada. And the Premier was asked about that. He says that is not true. We are their largest customer. Also said, though, I think we are in a much better position now before this meeting.